The campus gate was always crowded at 5:30 p.m. Students laughing, couples walking side by side, friends planning dinner, the sky glowing orange as the sun slowly dipped behind the library tower, and me standing there like I always did, waiting for her. Maya adjusted her backpack straps as she walked toward me, her hair catching the golden light. For a second, everything felt right, like it had every day for the past year. We weren't officially together, but we weren't nothing either. Late night calls, shirt notes, study sessions that lasted longer than they should. The way she would text me first whenever something good or bad happened. Everyone assumed we were just waiting for the right time to make it official. I assumed that too, until that afternoon. "Hey," she said, slightly out of breath, smiling. "Long class?" I asked. She nodded. Brutal. I reached for her bag out of habit. She let me take it. That small gesture meant more to me than it probably should have. We walked toward the gate together. That was our routine. I would walk her halfway home. She said she felt safer that way. I never complained, but today was different. As we reached the campus entrance, someone called her name. "Yo, Maya?" I turned. Rian, tall, confident, the kind of guy who never waited for anything in life. Things just came to him. He jogged over, flashing that easy smile. "You heading home?" he asked her. "Yeah," she replied. He glanced at me briefly. Not rude, not friendly either, just dismissive. "I can walk you," he said casually. "I've got to go that way anyway." Silence. It wasn't even a serious offer. It was light, playful, but what hurt wasn't his confidence. It was her hesitation. She looked at me, then at him, then back at me. And in that tiny pause, something shifted. "Oh, she said softly. "You don't mind, right? We need to talk about the group project anyway." The group project. Of course, I forced a smile. "Yeah? Sure." It felt like someone gently removed something from my chest. Not violently, just quietly. She took her bag back from my hand. That was the moment. Not when she walked beside him. Not when she laughed at something he said 2 steps later. Not even when she didn't look back. The moment was when my hands suddenly felt empty. I stood there at the campus gate, watching them walk down the sidewalk together, close enough to talk comfortably, close enough that I could see her brushing her hair behind her ear, the way she did when she was nervous or excited. I told myself it didn't mean anything. But the truth? If she had wanted me there, she would have chosen me. And that evening, under a sky that once felt warm, I realized something painful. I was always the one who stayed, but I was never the one she chose first. What I didn't know yet was that this small decision at the campus gate would set off something much bigger. Something neither of us was ready for. And in 3 days, my transfer letter would change everything. By the next morning, the campus felt different. Not because anything had officially changed, but because everyone had seen it. People notice things, especially in college, especially when 2 people who basically date suddenly don't walk out together. I tried to act normal. Same seat in class, same quiet routine, same headphones on, pretending I wasn't aware of the whispers 2 rows behind me. "Did you see Maya yesterday?" "Yeah. With Ryan." They looked kinda close. I kept my eyes on my notebook. I told myself it didn't matter. But then she walked in, and she didn't look at me. Not immediately. She hesitated at the door, scanning the room, until her eyes finally met mine. There was something unreadable in them. Guilt, confusion, regret. She gave me a small wave. Nodded back. That was it. No smile? No save me a seat? No quiet joke about how boring this class was. She sat 2 seats away. Not next to Ryan, but not next to me either. And somehow, that hurt more. By lunchtime, the rumors had evolved. Now it wasn't just that Ryan walked her home. Now they were working closely on their project. Now they were spending more time together. Now they might be something. The speed at which narratives form is terrifying. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions. Instead, I walked to the administrative office. The email had been sitting unread in my inbox for 3 days. Transfer application status. Approved. I had applied months ago, back when things between us were confusing. Back when I thought a fresh start might help me stop orbiting someone who wasn't sure about me. I hadn't expected it to go through, but it did. The secretary handed me the printed letter. Official stamp. Signature at the bottom. Next semester. Different city. Different campus. Different life. I stared at it longer than necessary. For the first time in a year, I felt something unfamiliar. Control. Control. If I stayed, I would keep hoping. If I left, I would finally choose myself. That evening, I didn't wait at the gate. I packed my things slowly after class. She approached me this time. "Hey," she said carefully. "Hey, you left quickly yesterday. Did I?" She studied me. "You didn't wait." Shrugged. "You didn't need me to." Silence. She shifted her weight. Ryan just needed help with a presentation. It wasn't. "You don't owe me an explanation." The words surprised even me. Her brows furrowed slightly. "Why are you acting like this?" I reached into my bag, pulled out the folded paper. For a split second, I almost put it back, but I didn't. "I won't be here next semester," I said calmly. She blinked. "What?" "I got accepted for transfer." The color drained from her face. "You're leaving?" Yeah. "Since when does it matter?" Her voice dropped. "Why didn't you tell me?" I looked at her, really looked at her. "Because I was waiting for you to choose me." But I didn't say that. Instead, I said, "It wasn't final until now." She stared at the letter like it was something fragile and dangerous. "This is because of yesterday, isn't it?" "No," I replied. "It wasn't. It was because of every yesterday." She stepped back slightly, as if the ground had shifted under her feet. "You can't just leave." I gave a small, almost tired smile. "Watch me." For the first time, she wasn't the one walking away. And for the first time, she looked like she might be the one afraid of being left behind. The news spread faster than I thought it would. By the next morning, people weren't whispering about Ryan anymore. They were whispering about me. "Is it true he is transferring?" "Why? Was it because of Maya?" Funny how quickly the story changes when the one who stays silent decides to leave. I kept my head down. 1 more week. That's all that was left before paperwork became permanent. I thought she'd avoid me. I was wrong. She found me on the rooftop that used to be our place. The quiet escape above the noise of campus, where she once told me she hated loud goodbyes and sudden endings. The irony wasn't lost on me. The door slammed open. "There you are." Her voice wasn't soft this time. It was sharp, frustrated, almost desperate. I didn't turn immediately. "Did you need something?" She walked toward me, steps fast and uneven. "Why are you doing this?" "Doing what?" "Leaving." I finally looked at her. Her hair was slightly messy, like she'd rushed. Her breathing wasn't steady. Her eyes, those steady, confident eyes, looked unsettled. "I applied months ago," I said. "It just got approved." "You never told me. You never asked." That's not fair. Her voice cracked, and that was new. She ran a hand through her hair. Everyone thinks I pushed you away. Did you? Silence. The wind moved between us. She looked hurt. I didn't choose Ryan. You didn't choose me either. That landed. I saw it. The realization. The truth she'd been avoiding. You think walking home with him means I picked him? She asked. It means when you had to decide, even for something small. It wasn't me. Her eyes glossed over. That's not what I meant to do, but it's what you did. She stepped closer. So your solution is to disappear. My solution, I replied calmly, is to stop waiting. That broke something in her composure. I wasn't ready. She whispered, for what? For you. The honesty stunned me more than anger would have. I liked you, she continued. I still do. But you're serious. You don't have feel things. And that scared me. So you chose something easier. She shook her head. I chose something less intense. I laughed softly, not cruel, just tired. And now? She hesitated again, but this hesitation felt different. This time, it wasn't about two boys. It was about courage. I didn't think you'd leave, she admitted. Why not? Because you always stayed. There it was, the quiet expectation, the unspoken rule. I would always be there, no matter what she did, no matter who she walked beside. I can't be your almost, I said. Her breathing trembled. You're not. Then what am I? She opened her mouth, closed it. Tears gathered but didn't fall. For the first time since I met her, she didn't have an answer. The rooftop felt smaller, the sky heavier. If I asked you to stay, she said carefully, would you? I didn't answer right away because this was the moment, not the campus gate, not the letter. The moment where she finally understood what losing me felt like, and the moment where I had to decide whether her fear was stronger than her feelings. I don't want you to stay because you're scared, I said quietly. She stepped closer, almost within reach. And if I'm not? The wind stilled. The world seemed to pause for the first time. She wasn't running from intensity. She was standing in it. And I realized something terrifying. She might finally be ready. But was I still willing to risk it? The rooftop conversation didn't end with an answer. It ended with silence, the kind that lingers in your chest long after the words stop. She didn't say, stay. And I didn't say, I will. We just stood there, both realizing something fragile had cracked open between us. 3 days. That's how long I had before the transfer became official. 3 days before signatures turned into reality. I spent them quietly, finishing assignments, returning library books, packing small things from my dorm room into cardboard boxers, folding memories into corners like old receipts. I didn't text her. She didn't text me either. But I could feel her watching across lecture halls, through crowded corridors, in moments when our eyes almost met and then didn't. It felt like we were both standing at the edge of something irreversible. On the final day before submission, I went to the administration office. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. The envelope sat in my hands, sealed, signed. All that remained was to hand it over. One movement, one decision. I stepped forward. Wait. Her voice echoed down the corridor. My heart reacted before my mind did. E turned. She was running toward me. Not walking, not hesitating, running. Her hair slightly messy, breath uneven, eyes determined. Students turned to look, but she didn't care. She stopped in front of me, chest rising and falling. You don't get to disappear like this, she said. I held up the envelope slightly. I'm not disappearing. I'm choosing. So am E. The words hit harder than I expected. She stepped closer. I was scared, she continued. Scared of how serious you are. Scared that if I chose you, it wouldn't be temporary, that it would mean something real. It does mean something real, I replied quietly. I know. Her voice soft. And I don't want easy anymore. The hallway felt smaller, the world quieter. You said you can't be my almost, she said. So don't be. My fingers tightened slightly around the envelope. Then what am I? I asked. She didn't hesitate this time. You're the person I think about first, the one I look for in every room, the one I compare everyone else to. Her eyes shimmered, but her voice stayed steady. I don't want to lose you because I was afraid of intensity. I searched her face, not for emotion, but for certainty. And for the first time, I didn't see confusion. I saw choice. I'm not asking you to stay because I'm scared, she said. I'm asking because I'm ready. The air felt heavy with decision. I looked down at the envelope. A fresh start. Freedom. Distance from uncertainty. Then I looked at her. Not the girl who hesitated at the gate. Not the girl who walked beside someone else. But the girl who ran down a hallway to stop me. Sometimes love isn't proven in quiet routines. Sometimes it's proven in bold movement. I stepped toward the office door. She held her breath. I lifted the envelope, paused, and then I tore in half. Gasps echoed faintly from somewhere behind us. Her eyes widened. You're staying, she whispered. I dropped the torn pieces into the nearby trash. I'm not staying because I was afraid to leave, I said. I stepped closer. I'm staying because this time you chose me. The tension in her shoulders finally broke, not into relief, but into something stronger, certainty. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me. Not softly, not cautiously, fully. For the first time, there was almost no hesitation, no backup option. Just two people who finally made the same choice at the same time. And outside the administration building, the campus gate stood exactly where it always had. But this time, neither of us walked away from it alone. 2 months later, the campus gate didn't feel the same. It wasn't just metal and stone anymore. It was history. It was the place where she once walked away, and the place where she later ran back. I was waiting there again, but this time, not because I was unsure, because I wanted to be. The air carried that early autumn coolness, golden leaves scattered across the pavement, soft sunlight stretching long shadows across the walkway. Students passed by, like always, but I wasn't watching them. I was watching for her. And she came. No hesitation. No scanning the crowd. She walked straight toward me, like she already knew exactly where she belonged. Hey, she said, smiling, not the cautious smile from months ago, a confident one. Hey, she stopped in front of me and tilted her head slightly. You're early. I didn't want to risk missing you. She rolled her eyes playfully. You won't. And that was the difference. Before, I waited, hoping. Now, I waited knowing things weren't magically perfect after that hallway moment. Choosing each other didn't erase insecurity overnight. There were conversations, difficult ones, about fear, about hesitation, about why she pulled away before and why I almost left without fighting harder. But this time, we didn't avoid them. We stayed in them. Together. Rian, he faded into the background of campus life. Not because of drama, but because the story was never about him. It was about courage, about whether we would step forward or stay comfortable in almost One afternoon, as we sat on the campus steps watching the sunset, she leaned her head lightly against my shoulder. "You know," she said softly, "if you had handed in that letter, I think I would have regretted it for the rest of my life." I looked at her. "And if you hadn't run down that hallway, I would have convinced myself I made the right choice." She smiled faintly. "So we were both stubborn." "Yeah, you?" She laced her fingers with mine. "But we were both scared too." The sky turned deep orange. Then, ping, ping. Then, violet. "I used to think love was supposed to feel safe," she admitted. "Easy, light. And now I think it's supposed to feel brave." That stayed with me because she was right. Love isn't about who waits the longest. It's about who steps forward when it matters. As we walked through the campus gate that evening, I realized something quietly powerful. The gate didn't change. We did. The boy who once stood there with empty hands now held hers. The girl who once hesitated now chose without doubt. We didn't rewrite the past. We grew beyond it. She squeezed my hand gently. "Promise me something," she said. "What?" "If we ever get scared again, we run toward each other, not away. Not away." I smiled. "I promise." And this time, it wasn't fragile. It wasn't uncertain. It wasn't almost. It was Chosun. The campus lights flickered on as night settled in. Students laughed in the distance. Life moved forward. And so did we. Together, through the same gate that once divided us. Now walking side by side, not because it was easy, but because we finally learned love isn't about staying. It's about choosing to stay every single day.